you so happy?
Life is really short and it's precious, and I just don't think that we should all spend time being negative and being grumpy and grouchy and being mean when there's all these positive things going on around you. If I'm helping someone wherever I am and they don't walk away feeling better, then I know I haven't done my job.
I met Barbara Eastman at a nursing home in Park City, Utah. She's perhaps the most positive person I've ever met. At the home, her nickname is The Giver.
Like everywhere she goes, everybody knows Barbara, everybody loves Barbara. I mean, you instantly feel like she's your best friend. And she makes you feel like, I've cried in Barbara's room on her shoulder more times than, I mean, I've gone to her for so many things, you know, because
Look who's here, there's the boy I mad about. Oh my dear, when he's near, I just feel like passing out. So big and strong, so full of youth. Oh mama, oh papa, tell me the truth. Ain't he sweet? See him coming down the street. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't he sweet, huh?
My name is David Snell. I'm a millennial, the new super generation. But it's the old super generation that's been on my mind lately. Who they are, what makes them tick, and, well, what it's like to get old.
I repeat, don't you think he's kind of neat? And I ask you very confidentially, ain't he sweet?
I mean, all we hear about senior citizens is help, I've fallen and I can't get up, or you've got movies like Grumpy Old Man or Grumpier Old Men. And so I feel like senior citizens really get a bad rap, and there are a lot of rumors about them and about, you know, their temperament. So we're gonna go and live with them, and we'll see if those rumors prove to be true or not.
Okay.
So my colleague Esther Rady and I spent 3 days living at Beehive Homes of Park City, Utah, to find out what it's like to walk a mile in their shoes. A little bit terrified.
Yeah.
You could say I'm like 1 part nervous, 2 parts excited.
Okay.
Or vice versa. I'm not quite sure. I have no idea what to expect. I've never been there, never met these people. I'm just gonna kind of show up and hope they don't hate me. Alright, well, we made it. Let's see what happens. The first thing they did was pull me onto a bus with them for a trip across town and an impromptu sing-along in October. "10 minutes and 5 Christmas songs later, we arrived at a yoga studio called The Shop, a super zen place complete with an impressively dexterous yogini surrounded by naked Hindu goddess statues, where the older folks got their chi on. Lucky for me, we were all at about the same skill level.
The main thing for me is how incredibly open they are and how willing they are to try anything. And when I started, they knew nothing about yoga, but I will say 100% of them have been open-minded, happy, receptive, and wonderful. And a lot of them are wheelchair-bound, so they don't have a lot of mobility. And now all of a sudden they can do things that they didn't think they could do. And they can raise their arms up over their head before they couldn't. They can all do more than they think they can do. For the most part, they they're excited and they come and they like it. And that to me means that they're getting something out of it.
Mary Catherine Labertu usually does yoga once a week. She's still working on her form, but loves the interaction with her friends and the chance to learn something new, even as she's starting to slow down a little.
The fact that I have to have a walker in order to walk, and I'm blind in this eye, all of that I have to take into account. And other people don't quite understand it. What do you mean you can't read? That kind of response is hurting.
But you don't let it slow you down.
Oh, I try not to.
It was my first time at a yoga studio, and I admit it was difficult, painful at times, and even a little embarrassing. 45 minutes of exercise and back on the bus to the Heber Valley Creamery for some fresh-made ice cream because why not?
Be like, very important people on board. That's exactly correct.
Gordon went to grab some napkins and left his ice cream in Marilyn's care. I turned my head for just a second, but a second was all Marilyn needed.
How do you like the ice cream that you stole?
It's delicious.
You do know that's Gordon's ice cream, right?
Yeah, but I don't care.
Okay.
I didn't know Gordon too well yet, so I was a little nervous.
Gordon is going to be ticked.
Not Gordon.
He's not mad.
He has a great heart.
And true to his reputation, Gordon cared more for the ladies than he did for his huckleberry.
I knew you would not care. But you gotta claim the fact that it disappeared.
It wasn't me, Gordon.
No problem.
Great times with ice cream and new friends, but a decision to take the scenic route home didn't bode well for good old Gordon.
I don't know whether the driver touched the brake or tried to accelerate, but for some reason I was wearing my house slippers, and they're slippery is the right word. When she did that, my feet went out from under me, and I landed flat on my back. And as I was going over and falling down, I thought, this is one of those breakover periods in my life. I'm either going to spend the rest of my life in bed, or I'm going to get up and walk out of here one way or the other. And it's nothing I can do about it.
Very good job.
Okay.
Did you hurt anything?
I think so.
You sure? Sure?
Apparently older Americans eat dessert first, because you never know. So after the ice cream, we went back to the home and had dinner. Chicken corn chowder, crackers, pear halves, some coleslaw with a side of dinner conversation.
I like to crochet.
Wow. I don't. I like to play football.
I ate everything they gave me, and it was pretty good. Although the coleslaw was a little soggy. Sorry, Jerry. After dinner, we went outside to check out Gordon's fishing gear. He worked as a Methodist pastor for 46 years as a fisher of men, but he's also an experienced fisher of fish, something I am not. The lights at Beehive go out at about 8 p.m. and everyone heads to their rooms for some shut-eye. Everyone but me. They didn't have any beds available, so I got the love seat in the TV room.
Good morning, Mr. Zip, 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 with your haircut just as sharp as mine. Good morning, Mr. Zip, Zip, Zip.
So you slept here overnight. How did you feel this morning waking up?
It was kind of a rough night for me, sleeping on kind of a shorter couch, but I didn't hear any screams in the night, any wailing or shrieking. I didn't know what to expect, but things seemed pretty calm around here. After an old-fashioned American breakfast, we hopped back on the bus for an early morning field trip. Barbara might be slow getting on and off the bus, but she's fast when it comes to her job as a ticket ripper at Redstone Theater.
Thank you. Too.
Bye. I've always wanted to work in a movie theater. Let's do it. So I did it. I've always wanted to do that. So I'm just gonna do it. So just be happy and do things and have fun. Have fun with your life. Go for it.
How are you? Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
Okay. I've also always wanted to work at a theater, so Barbara showed me the ropes.
Tear him down the center.
Uh-huh.
And then thank you. Awesome.
I'm working at a
I know, and I think you're hired. Woo! I think you're ready.
We make a good team.
We do, don't we?
We should do this more often.
I think we'll do it often.
While I was there, I spoke with Barbara's boss, Garrison Brown, to find out why he would hire a senior citizen when millions of us millennials are unemployed and living in our parents' basements.
The best.
Why?
It's just impossible to be in a bad mood around her. Always just the happiest employee here. She's always got some interesting stories or something to brighten up everyone's day.
Cool.
Everyone here just gravitates to her.
To be totally honest, we may have skipped lunch at the home and may have swung by McDonald's instead, but somehow that footage got lost. Sorry, Jerry. When we got back, I ran into Gordon, who'd recovered from his fall just enough to take me fishing. But first, may have just crushed it.
You stoned him?
He sent me on a hunt for live bait. Grasshoppers are more difficult to catch than you'd expect, but once I had one, Gordon set the hook.
Away we go.
Armed with our live bait, we headed down the side of the freeway. A long walk with a senior citizen who had a history of falling. I paid $16 for a fishing license only to find this, a sliver of a river without any fish in sight. Gordon claims he catches a lot of fish here, but I have my doubts. We gave up after about 45 minutes and headed back home. He talked about an old friend and their fishing adventures. I mostly kept him from veering off into traffic. When playtime was over, Gordon sat me down and told me a little bit about his experience with aging.
What am I doing here? How did I get here? Why am I here? I don't like it. No one likes it. How could you like it? You've lost your home, your neighborhood, your church, your friends, your money. It's all gone in a day. Things you spend a lifetime working for are finished. They're done. They're out of your grasp. They're out of your control. You have no way to deal with it. My health and my money are now in my daughter's hands. I trust her. But that's hard to do. And all the things you had that I told you who you were and gave you an identity and a community and a family are gone. And then those friends start dying, which makes it worse. It's not as bad here because it's not large enough to have continual deaths, but in the last two places, it was terrible. People would die, and then you walk in the next day, and the room would be empty, and their chair would be empty. And that's the only way you knew they were gone.
Gordon played football at Purdue University. And this is you on the right?
Mm-hmm. Carl was in the Army, and he got dosed with Agent Orange.
Transitioning into the home was rough on Gordon, but he's figuring out how to deal with it.
Do you know?
82. Do I know? What do you
Where is it?
There's a book that I've been reading. It's over there on the top of the desk. I marked off a little bit of it because it's called Resilience, and it's probably the most powerful book I've read in a long time. Here we are. Resilient people do not bounce back from hard experiences. They find healthy ways to integrate them into their lives. In time, people find that calamity, met with great spirit, can produce great strength and much wisdom.
I think Gordon was trying to explain how he feels living at a place where frankly, he'll likely die. But memories of his past make him proud of what he accomplished and the things he stood for.
I had my first baby when we graduated, and we moved to a small town in Indiana, northern Indiana. I left that town to go down for Dr. King's memorial service. When I came back, bricks had been thrown through my windows, car tires had been slashed. My family had been terrified. And I didn't think of myself as some kind of heroic trooper. Just believed that if people could go to Vietnam and die, it was only fair that they could come back from Vietnam and vote.
Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Residents here are in a tough situation. But just like anywhere else, surrounding yourself with good friends is key. That's where the staff comes in to lighten things up.
They do get isolated here, and they do, sometimes it's hard to get them out of their rooms, and they forget that there's this whole beautiful world out there, so I get a lot of joy dragging them out there and reminding them.
Colleen Grover started working as the activities director at the Beehive House 2 years ago, and she is just crazy about her job.
Well, I pretty much have the best job that anyone can ask for, and I'm sure you don't know a lot of people that say that they love their job, and I really do love my job. It's so fun, and I think the best part about it is getting to know these people and the challenge of trying to make their lives better and make them happy, which is really challenging sometimes.
But even though a lot of Colleen's friends die, it doesn't make her sad.
Pretty much, I would say 99% of the residents that have passed away have told me, I am ready to go. I've had a great life. I'm in pain. I don't want to linger away anymore. And they've really expressed that they're fine and they're ready. And so I didn't feel a lot of sadness, aside from the fact that we might miss them. But for them, I didn't feel sad. I felt happy. They were, whatever was for them, they were ready to face it, and they passed on.
Juan Alvarado works here as a certified nursing assistant. After only a year here, death is no stranger to him either.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes when you're really close. When I started doing this job, I was thinking, and people told me, don't put your feelings on this because sometimes it's gonna be hard. And I was like, it's okay. I don't think that can be hard for me. But yeah, so like I said, I worked in different places and I saw people die really close to me. And this lady she was in this facility, when she passed, was like, oh, that was sad. So it can be like really vulnerable for me. It's like, you get really close. You don't want to put your feelings, but you will. You will with these people. You will.
I also got a chance to get to know Edna White. I think. She couldn't quite remember her last name, but that's what it says on her name plaque. So try not to look at the cameras.
I don't even know where they
Just look at David.
That's fine. Edna is 92 years old, she thinks. Maybe 94. But she's the oldest resident at the Beehive House, and the one everyone calls Mom.
I don't know whether that's shy. Right.
That's true. I remember on the bus yesterday when Gordon fell over. How did you feel when he fell?
Oh, it just kind of, what do I do? What do I do? I didn't know. But I held his hand. And yeah, it's hard.
She's just the mom. She's so concerned about everybody, and she wants to make sure that everybody's taken care of and that they're okay. She's very concerned about everyone and their well-being, and she would put herself extra last to make sure everybody else is fine. Just the epitome of a mom. You know what I mean? Just this motherly she's got those motherly instincts, but they cross over into every aspect of her life.
Edna treated me like I was one of her kids, or grandkids, or maybe great-grandkids.
I never think of how old I am.
What do you think about? How old do you feel?
Well, I feel like I have an ache in my head. And that's it. I forget how old I am. I have to figure it out. And sometimes I don't figure it out right. Right?
Edna married twice and raised several children. That's where she first earned the title of mom.
Were you able to get a job after school?
Oh, I didn't need a job. I had husbands.
Husbands? Multiple?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about them?
Sure. My husband was just great.
Barbara got home from work at about 9 o'clock, and we reminisced about the workday. You told us you picked up little snippets of our interview with your manager.
I did.
We want to play the whole thing for you.
I would love to see it.
Always just the happiest employee here.
Is she cooler than you thought she'd be?
Oh yeah. She's always got some interesting stories or something to brighten up everyone's day.
Cool.
Everyone here just gravitates to her.
It's awesome. You never know how you're doing till you have that first, the word escapes me. You have your first review. You never know how you're doing. And so I was thinking the other day, I hope I'm doing okay. I guess I am. Thank you, Garrison Brown.
She also opened up to me about how she became the youngest person living at the home.
I was a runner, a biker. I did aerobics and played tennis. I couldn't do that any longer. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1995, and then I did very well with it. I had a cane and a walker, and sometimes I didn't need either, and I was doing very well with it, and I was working full time. And then in 2012, I wasn't feeling well, and I went to the emergency room, and they found a pulmonary embolism in my chest that, if it dislodged, would kill me. The doctors didn't think I was going to make it, but I was bound and determined to make it, and I did. And then I had to go to the chair.
There is no cure for MS, a fact that has forced Barbara to make some tough decisions.
If the quality of my life suffers, if I'm alive but not living, if I have to go on a respirator, if I can't do the things I normally do here, pay my bills, take my own pills, go to work, do what I do, if things aren't working for me, then I will, I have already considered it and I have decided to do it. I will do the assisted suicide. And I'm okay with it. I'm really okay. I don't want to live, like I said, I don't want to be alive and not live.
How are you so happy?
Life is really short and it's precious, and I just don't think that we should all spend time being negative and being grumpy and grouchy and being mean when there's all these positive things going on around you.
By the time everyone headed for bed, I felt like I was part of the family. I am surprised at how good I feel around these people. Like, I haven't felt awkward except for maybe with one lady that likes to flirt a little bit. I've just felt so welcome. I feel like they've just become family, and we're leaving tomorrow, and I miss them already. I don't want to leave. I mean, we have to, but I'm gonna miss them, and we've just become friends, which I mean, we've been here for a day and a half, and we're you know, talking like we've known each other for years. It's an incredible thing. That doesn't happen anywhere else. So back to the short couch for my second night at the home. Just got up. Night number 2 is down. Day number 3 begins. Slept better last night than the first night. It's a bittersweet feeling. We're heading out in a few hours. And I'm gonna miss it. Gonna miss the people. I've made some good friends. I should probably go ahead and brush my teeth now. And go say hi to my friends. Another American breakfast, this time with good old Edna. Then we decided to mess around with some of the Beehive House pets. Oh my gosh, those are adorable. They're cute, but it comes at a price. A lot of the residents left to spend Sunday with friends and family, so I spent some time talking with the owner about her take on aging.
We're all going to be experience it in some form, and it's going to be gradual. One day that's going to be your mom, or your dad, or your grandmother, or your aunt, and then eventually it's going to be you. And it changes your way because maybe you don't have a lot of experience with it right away, but you will get experience with it. You will. You'll have your parents going into a nursing home, or your aunt, or someone, and all of a sudden you'll think, these people have contributed so much to society. I mean, there's people out there, I mean, they raised our parents. They've fought in the wars that have given us our freedoms. They have paved the way for everything that we have the opportunity to experience now. And you see that, you know, and you gain an enormous amount of respect for them.
I enjoyed my stay at Beehive Homes. I admit I was excited to see my old, young friends again, but leaving my new, old friends was difficult. It was tough leaving a community of people who were so kind, positive, and accepting of a stranger in their midst. They really weren't that grumpy. They're open-minded. A lot of times we hear that the elderly have no filter, and so they say kind of crazy things sometimes, which is true. Some of them don't have that filter, but that also works both ways. The sweet things that they say, they have no filter on it, and they will just, if they're thankful for something, they will just gush gratefulness from their hearts, and it's not censored by, you know, societal norms or whatever you want to call it. They speak their minds, both good and bad, but it's something worth emulating.